The FAA has decided that they're going to cap flights, not just in New York, but in 40 metropolitan areas across the country, all because controllers aren't showing up. And that's something we need to talk about. Hey there, welcome back. Hey, we've heard some powerful words from the FAA lately on a couple fronts, but the first one is, we will never compromise safety. I kind of hate it when they say that because it kind of just isn't true. FAA leadership and even the Air Traffic Controllers Union leadership has lost control of the vital air traffic controller workforce. We are in a shutdown and they have missed a paycheck, as have so many others in critical positions like FBI analysts, FAA safety inspectors. All the accepted positions in government must continue performing their duties to protect the safety of life and property. But controllers are not showing up. Many are not working, but certainly they're going to expect a full paycheck when the government reopens. The deal is you get the paycheck when your government reopens if you are performing your duties. And for safety, let's break down what happened in Orlando recently. The shift didn't show up. Those planes are already in the air headed to Orlando. Controllers that did show up have to scramble as all of a sudden there is a big you can't fly there zone to a super busy airport. Strain on airlines, pilots, passengers, and so many other controllers who actually did show up to perform their duty is the actual safety impact. It all becomes an abnormal operation. Sure, the FAA slows things down, and that is too late. So now, for the future, the Secretary of Transportation and the FAA Administrator announced a 10% flight reduction at the top 40 airports in the country, and they will curtail commercial space flights as well. All indicators that we really can't rely on the workforce. I guess until they get a paycheck, and then all will be fine, I guess, right? Not. So we have an unreliable workforce in an already understaffed critical utility that moves people and goods in the economy of our country. We need to pivot. Isn't it about time that we start talking about what are we going to do about this? Today it's a shutdown, tomorrow could be pay issues, and after that it's a Tuesday in the phases of the moon. This isn't Europe where critical functions go on strike every summer. We need a different path. Privatization, okay, maybe controllers would be getting paid, but that doesn't solve the issue of not being able to check out controllers or keep up with the needed staffing. Pay controllers more, a lot more. Well, shutdowns are still an issue, and fatigue leave doesn't have a place if personnel are super highly paid. Pay is all about performance, especially when it's high. So it is time to start thinking about what computers can do to make the job easier, less stressful, easier to train, check out, easier recruitment. Some things in the FAA's infrastructure plan could be very helpful, like the Common Automation Platform, but that would just be the beginning. Like airlines move from 3 pilots to 2 due to the availability of automation in the cockpit, it's time to look at how that can be done for air traffic controllers. It's kind of been taboo for a while, but that needs to come off the table. It needs to become a real research plan. What kind of autopilot capabilities can we employ to drive a more stable, recruitable, retainable workforce? The FAA is into these challenge acquisitions of late, but instead of a challenge acquisition on systems that are already available and really off the shelf, they need to put the aviation industrial base to work and open up a challenge on how to make the human-centric world of air traffic control more resilient to pressures of the day. So as long as we're talking about new paths, we need to talk about the brand new Air Traffic Control System Integrator. The solicitation originally should have had the integrator on board in August of this year, and then a revised solicitation came out, and that had the award at the end of October. Now the solicitation calls for the integrator to have no excuses and exceptional delivery. Really powerful words, which turns into a contraction called NEEDS, N-E-E-D-S. It is plastered all over the request. Yet, what excuse or lack of an excuse is the FAA using for not meeting the very first step in the process of getting an integrator on board? Every day counts. We are just a tad over 1,000 days left for this mission. And once the integrator is on board, they will actually be facing penalties for missed milestones. I don't think the FAA is going to penalize themselves for anything. I'm sure the FAA will remember that they missed these first crucial milestones, and they will not be in the way of any future milestones. I'm sure not. Okay, shifting gears to some cool tech. NASA's super quiet X-59 Quest research plane took to the skies for its first flight last month. The 1 hour and 7 minute flight departed Palmdale, California and landed at Edwards Air Force Base. It's a Lockheed Martin built aircraft with GE Aerospace power, and it went up to 12,000 feet, did some basic handling checks between 170 and 250 knots, and came back down to the earth. It's designed to gather data on how people will react to really quiet sonic booms, and it was first shown off in January of 2024. Even with some early hiccups related to flight control computers and the hydraulic system, flight tests have finally kicked off. This airplane's about 100 feet long, built to cruise at Mach 1.4 and fly up to 55,000 feet. It's got a super distinctive sharp nose, special fuselage shaping, and top-mounted engine, all to keep those sonic booms as quiet as possible. So after they analyze the post-flight data, NASA will start pushing the envelope, aiming for transonic and then supersonic speeds in this first phase of flight tests. In phase 2, which will be next year, it'll all be about confirming those quiet acoustic characteristics. In phase 3, we'll focus on what communities think. Now, that seems like a lot of work when already the president has signed an executive order lifting the overland supersonic ban. So we don't need this for rulemaking. We don't really need it for anything to go make a supersonic vehicle and go fly across the United States. But NASA is stressing that this is still super important work. I kind of think because it's a cool thing to fly and it's kind of fun. And it might be super important, but for me the important work is how supersonics actually integrate in the normal flows of traffic. Heck, we can't run smoothly now. We're reducing traffic this weekend because of staffing. Caps on operations in New York until next October. And now an aircraft that flies nearly 2 times as fast as everybody else, and with those little stubby wings, it is likely not to be anywhere near as maneuverable as the rest of the ecosystem. And you have another addition to the abnormal operations. And that takes some research, but that all could be done in the simulator, couldn't it? We don't need to actually have a plane to figure that out. Just saying. So, last month, Saudi Arabia's General Authority of Civil Aviation approved the country's first remote digital tower to be located at Jeddah International Airport, which will control a sister international airport. Saudi Air Navigation Services is working with Spanish company Indra to implement the project. And if Saudi Arabia can do this, why can't the FAA? There is some hope. Frequentis, the latest remote virtual tower provider to work with the FAA, along with Saab and Sea Ridge, who have already done there and pulled out, has installed their version of a remote tower in Bartow, Florida. It's not operational yet, but maybe third time's a charm. Thanks. Coming to you from the Florida Keys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and we will see you next time. In